Hey everyone, how's it going? Glad to see everyone here. I'm just really happy and really grateful that I can share my story to all of you, and just like the ups and downs that I've been through. Let me make a quick prayer. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for just blessing us on this fine day, and just pray that you can speak through me, Lord. Just give me grace and just give me the wisdom, Lord, to share a message, Lord, to spread the gospel, and to be able to, through all the experiences I've been through, Lord, you've always been there for me, and just brought me so many good friends and family, Lord, and such a good church family. So appreciative of everything, Lord, and just continue to guide us, Lord, and grow as a church, and just pray for this time, so we can just be blessed by you. Thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. Oh yeah, I'm going to give you my testimony. I guess the word that really describes it is hope. Hope for the future, and having hope despite times of hardship and just things that happen to you where you don't understand why it happens to you. And yes, I'm really glad to be up here, speaking, because I've always had severe, public speaking anxiety. I remember in high school when I had speech class, like I would have to give speeches, and I had my index cards ready, and I was like so nervous. Like all my cards got like wet from my hand sweat. I was like, oh man, But through that class, actually, I learned a lot, and then through the grace of God, I've given my testimony on a few other occasions, and I just feel like He gave me the courage to do it. So I'm really thankful for that. I'm gonna start in the beginning. Let's see. I grew up in a church family. My parents went to a Chinese church when I was born. I would say for the first 5 years. I went to Sunday school. I attended church regularly. I played with a lot of church kids. And then after 5 years old, I think pretty much we stopped going to church. And my parents, I think for a long time, didn't go to church until maybe like 15 years later. So I guess growing up, I knew I had a few issues with OCD and just some problems, but I guess I didn't know like how big it actually was, the problems. I would say in elementary school and middle school, everything was pretty good. Like I had a pretty normal childhood, and I guess I did go to church, for the first 5 years, but I really didn't think more of it, It was just like a thing I did. And I did, those church, like, cards and crafts, and, read Bible stories and stuff like that. In middle school, I was actually quite social. I had a decent amount of friends, and I was pretty involved. My grades were really good, and everything was pretty good, I felt. And also middle school, I actually started going to a youth group with some of my friends at Oasis, and it was really cool, I really didn't really know God, but I felt like it was just cool to hang out with, people on Saturday nights, sing worship, have small group, hang out, go grab some food to eat, have like, outings. That was really cool, but at the same time, I feel like God wasn't in my life at all. Like I was just going because my friends were going. I think I went to Oasis for probably 2 years, from like 8th grade to 9th grade, and 9th and 10th grade, I would say, were pretty good too. I was still pretty social and getting good grades, and everything was fine. And then suddenly, when 10th grade hit, something happened to me that was just really bad, to the point where I could barely go to school. Like on days in classes, I would have panic attacks in class, and I would be just so frightened. I would start sweating. I felt like I was gonna pass out or die like every day. So just going to class was super difficult. And then ever since like halfway through 10th grade, I pretty much started isolating myself from everyone. I pretty much cut off all connections with all friends. I pretty much became paranoid, and I felt that, people were talking bad stuff about me, and that I couldn't trust anyone. And that's also when my grades started plummeting. It just became really bad. When I took tests, I couldn't really focus at home. All I wanted to do was sleep. I was super, super depressed and just anxious all the time, to the point where I would say I was suicidal. From 10th grade on, 11th grade, 12th grade. I just felt so alone and just out of it all the time. Like, on days in class, I remember I would have panic attacks, and a panic attack is when your heart rate starts going faster and faster, and you feel like you're gonna die and have like a heart attack, and you just feel like just bright lights are coming. It's really, really scary feeling actually. If people have had panic attacks, they probably know what I'm talking about. But it was just really rough. Like, my grades started to plummet. Started having huge problems with my parents. We argued all the time. I was sick of, them telling me what to do. I was so angry all the time. I had severe anger problems. I would snap at people. And it was just really, really bad. I was in a really, really dark place. To the point where I was constantly going on the internet and just reading on, ways to kill myself, actually. And doing a lot of research on that, which is very sad. And I was very lonely. I felt like I had no one. Like, if I died, no one would care, and the world would probably be a better place, actually. So then, junior and senior year pretty much was a nightmare for me. Like, every day was a struggle. Just getting up in the morning and going to class, I was dreading it. And then there were some severe OCD symptoms, to the point where, like, every little thing was bothering me. It took me like 30 minutes just to get out of bed, and do my normal routine, just to function. And it was just, if anyone's seen the TV show Monk, it's similar like that, to the point where I just feel like I can't function. I felt like I wasn't equipped with the proper tools, to function in normal life. And I just felt so awkward and just so useless. And so I guess I did go by, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. I tried really hard, to make it, work, and just try to push through it. And I guess I did. But also, then there's a thing where my glasses started bothering me. It's like another symptom that was crazy. Like, I have like a small ridge for my nose, and it just kept slipping off. So I'm like, I can't wear glasses, and I couldn't wear contacts. So I guess I got LASIK surgery in senior year, and for some reason it wasn't really good in the first place, the first time. So I couldn't see for a while, so that really panicked me. But then the second time I went back to do it, it was fixed, so everything was okay. But just things like that, glasses should be fine, right? But just things like that, it was unbearable. Just sometimes I would be just walking, I'd be something's going on, I have to count my steps, or have to keep washing my hands or reorganizing things. And I was just what is going on here? And then I think one day I was cleaning up my room, and I threw away most of the stuff in my room, and also long sleeve shirts started bothering me, so I cut all my long sleeve shirts, all gone. And then my mom was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I don't know." So I would layer my shirts with 5 shirts, but there was it was sleeveless. So I was like, okay. And then senior year, my parents were getting very worried about me. They were like, "What is going on with you, Kevin?" So I started seeing many different counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists. But at that time, they couldn't prescribe medication for me because I was under 18 years old. So pretty much I just did counseling. Probably saw over 15 different psychologists, and probably saw over 7 different psychiatrists. Nothing really helps. then I did graduate high school, right? 2005, I graduated high school. There was, pretty much I felt really alone. And then I started going to OU in 2005. And I had a really, really bad relationship with my parents. I had no friends. I pretty much couldn't do anything, and my self-confidence was zero, pretty much. And yes, every day I woke up, I dreaded just living life. I just wanted to end it. And then I started going to OU. First semester, I took 3 classes, and I ended up flunking all 3 of them. So then I dropped out of school. I would say 2006 is probably the worst year of my life, actually. Despite all the prior situations, you know, being really bad, but 2006 I think takes the cake. In 2006, so after I dropped out of OU, 2005, fall, and then 2006, 1 semester, I dropped out because I couldn't handle it. I couldn't even get to class on time. Like, when the professor talked, I pretty much couldn't hear anything that the professor was saying. I was I pretty much had a panic attack every day. And my social anxiety, when I saw people, I felt like people, almost a little like schizophrenic, you know, like so paranoid to the point where I just didn't trust anyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone, I just hated the whole world. So 2006, after I dropped out of college, that's when I started taking medications actually, because I was over 18 years old. So a psychiatrist put me on so many different types of medication, drugs, you know, for my anxiety, for my some bipolar disorder, and OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, also GAD, a lot of generalized anxiety disorder, and pretty severe depression. So they put me on cocktail after cocktail, and it just seems like it was working somewhat. It made me more numb, like a zombie. At the same time though, I wasn't very happy, and there was a lot of really bad side effects that I did not like. And then in 2006, I was on some medication. I think it reacted really badly, or there was a lot of bad side effects. So first, I actually ran away from home. I took the bus to the airport. I bought a ticket to Houston, and I actually slept on the streets of Houston for 3 days. I don't know why, I just wanted to run away, you know, from my family. I was just tired of them, you know, and just like judging me, and tired of other people judging me. So I pretty much ran away from home. And then after 3 days, I came back, and I felt so bad because my parents were so worried about me. I was thinking, how selfish can I be? Seriously. And through that was just the start of it though. And it was just a really rough time. And then actually, I think a month after that, actually, I attempted my first suicide attempt. I swallowed a lot of pills, and I actually poisoned myself, and I called my mom. I told my mom, can you please take me to the ER because I overdosed on tranquilizers. So she did, and they pumped my stomach and gave me this really, really disgusting like liquid to soak it all out, to soak the poison out. And then I was pretty much locked up in a psychiatric hospital for 2 weeks. And that was a very interesting experience. It really opened up my eyes. Just, you know, how bad mental disorder is, and how like people don't understand mental disorder. You know, they pretty much, most people just thought I was making excuses or being lazy or just, you know, not getting it, you know, and just a sign of weakness, especially in the Asian community. The Asian community is, I feel, is very judgmental, and like a lot of people pretty much won't accept it, you know, like dropping out of college, having disorder. I think most people don't even recognize disorder in the Asian community. They feel like, you know, it's just you making excuses, and when are you going to step out of this? That was a really hard situation, you know, talking to my parents' friends and just, you know, telling them all this stuff, and just people judging me left and right. I was pretty sick of it. It was just really hard, and I felt super, super alone. While I was in the mental hospital, I learned a lot from the other people. We kind of bonded, you know. There was a game time. There was a dog that came to visit us. There was a lot of group counseling and just, you know, therapy, which helped me. So 2 weeks later, I was released. I came home, I think,
for 2 more weeks, and then I tried to kill myself again for the second time. I actually tried to hang myself, but that didn't work. And then I got locked up again for another 2.5 weeks in the same hospital. And I really don't know what I was doing. I just truly wanted to end my life. I just hated myself. I hated everyone around me so much. And it was just so hard. Just every day, every second felt like, I would say, just felt like, the worst situation ever. So the second time when I went to the mental hospital, the psychiatric ward, they did the same thing. But then afterwards, they did outpatient therapy for me, which was really, really good. And through that, I kind of, was okay. And my youth pastor at the time, Brady, he came to visit me at the psychiatric ward. But during that time, though, 2006, I pretty much had no friends. So I don't think anyone even knew I was in the psychiatric. No one knew what I was going through. No one really knew anything, what happened. I had pretty much 0 friends. I didn't contact. I was a loner for a long time. I would say for 6 years. I didn't hang out with anyone. I wouldn't say just, hang out by myself all the time. Watch movies, go exercise, go to the mall, go eat, all by myself. No friends for 6 years. From sophomore year in high school, halfway through, to I would say, quite a long time. I just learned to, live by myself. Can't imagine that now, though, I think God has changed a lot of things. I'm so grateful for that. And then after I came out the second time, my parents started going to OCC, which is Open Chinese Church, along with my brother, who's 9 years younger than me. He started going to youth group, and they started bringing me there, thinking that maybe God could be the answer. Maybe God could help me out of this situation, this endless situation where it felt like hell. And it just felt so debilitating to the point where they didn't know what to do with me. They really didn't. They're just so amazing parents, now. But at the time, I just argued with them all the time, just endless. We would scream at each other, and there was no communication at all. And but then at the time, after the second time, when I came out of the mental hospital, Pastor Brady actually started having me help out the youth group, just do a few things to keep my mind off, bad things, and just keep me busy, so I'm doing something productive. Something that has value, or just making me feel more confident about myself. In the process, I learned more about the Bible. I read more scripture, and I got to start to know just how amazing God is and how He can impact anyone's life. And He can use even someone like me who's so weak, to help others, which for me is truly amazing, I feel. And so that's the end of 2006. And then I saw, I would say probably maybe the 11th psychiatrist. He finally put me on 2 medications to balance my mood. And ever since that to now, I'm still on the same medications. So it's been about 10 years. And I'm still seeing the same psychiatrist. I feel like he saved my life. He's really good at what he does. And also in 2006, after I dropped out of college, I couldn't hold down a job. I worked many jobs, but for some reason every job bothered me to the point where I just couldn't do it. So after 2 weeks or something, I would quit every job. I didn't know what I could do. I couldn't go to college. I couldn't hold down a job. What is meant for me in this world? What am I supposed to do? I just felt just so crushed. And